Here we are in Kusadasi on the Turkish Mediterranean. Noisy, busy, full of tourists and shopping. There's an ad for the latest disco nightclub. Or a Moonlight.
That's it.
Noisy and busy, just like any European city. But this is Asia.
Kusadasi translates as Island of the Birds, and there are plenty of them. The city even built them little birdie condos. There's a nice little fort in the harbor, but the rest of it is just a big overgrown resort city, and that's not what we came to see. Today's excursion will take us inland to some of the smaller towns and villages to try to capture some authentic Turkish flavor. It's our first visit to a Muslim country, so fasten your fez and let's go. Salam alaikum.
Hoş geldin yar yüreğime, boş ver de el alem ne derse desin. Hadi 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 hadi.
I was surprised by the rugged terrain, rocky rolling mountains coated with olive trees. Our guide told us that Turkey is the world's #1 producer of olive oil. Our first stop was the village of Şirince. On the way, I learned a little Turkish. Dur means stop, but maybe it's dur. I didn't think to ask. Arriving at destination on right. And it's a very picturesque, well-preserved town from the early 1900s, built up along the mountainside. I wonder what that girl is cooking. The sign says Neapolis Restaurant, so it must be Italian. Indeed, it's a red sauce, but it's going to be hot because look at all those peppers. They're sun-drying up on the roof. We saw red peppers all over Turkey, even growing in city apartment balconies. Speaking of local produce, we couldn't figure out what these fruit were until we took a closer look. Oh, pomegranates! How cool is that? The rest of the town is just what you'd expect from a rustic Eastern European village, with stone walls and walkways, and narrow alleys lined with market stalls for vendors. Some buildings have been restored and converted into guest houses and inns. But in the center of town, instead of a church and a steeple, there's a mosque and a minaret. Ironically, this town does have a church that's almost 200 years old, but it hasn't been used in almost a century. Judy explains why.
Here we are in a church in a small village in Turkey. This has not been used since approximately 1919, the First World War, when the Greek Orthodox that lived in this area of Turkey were sent back to Greece in exchange for the Turks that lived in Greece. Turkey was on the losing side in World War I, and when they gained their independence, there was an exchange of Greeks that lived in Turkey. They returned to their homeland, and the Turks that lived in Greece came here.
Judy also noticed that even in this long-abandoned church that Jesus' face has been erased, since Islam prohibits depiction of graven images. Before leaving town, we shopped for souvenirs in this nice little market. The prices were surprisingly affordable. The label on the back of this pillowcase says handmade in Turkey, so we know it's genuine. I'm not so sure about the watches. The man on the banner is Mustafa Kemal Ataturk, founder of modern-day Turkey. Truly the George Washington of Turkey, his name even means father of the Turks, given by a grateful parliament. Revered throughout Turkey, his likeness is everywhere, and it's even illegal to defame his name. Like Washington, he was a military hero, led his country to the War of Independence, and became its first president. A social reformer, he outlawed Muslim law and established Turkey as a Western secular republic. He mandated Western-style alphabet, education, and dress, and banned the wearing of the traditional fez for men and headscarf for women at the government and university level. Like so many great men, he had his flaws and died at age 57 from cirrhosis of the liver. Headscarves may still be banned in government and universities, but we still saw plenty of them on the streets. Still, we had to be discreet when taking photos. I didn't want some angry mob to come and smash my camera for violating Islamic law.
Yüzüm güldü sayende içim huzurla doldu. Kaderinde yazan aşk sonunda beni buldu. Hoş geldin ya yüreğime. Boş ver.
Here's proof you can still be styling in your scarf. The woman on the left takes a more traditional approach, but the gal on the right is a thoroughly modern Muslim in her blue jeans, floral print blouse, designer yellow bag, accented with a simple white scarf. Back on the road again, our next stop is the city of Tyre. It's a more typical working-class city with a well-developed shopping area.
Here we are, walking through the market in the Turkish village of Tyre. They like shoes here.
And who doesn't?
There are a lot of shoes here.
Hello Kitty is here. Barbie is here.
And there's Hello Kitty. She gets around.
And look who else gets around. Hello, Mr. Viagra. The sign says, "Tonight. Interested?" Like America, there are plenty of Usmani, or specialists, including ear, nose, and throat, and cardiology. But there are some things you won't find in the USA, like these orange sofas, although they did match Judy's blouse. Or the old shoe repair shop. Or big carcasses of fresh meat hanging in the butcher's window. Or the felt factory.
Making felt the old-fashioned way. And here's the old felt maker himself.
It's really pretty simple. Just pile the loose wool and fabric scraps on a mat, sprinkle with soapy water, roll it up, and beat the crap out of it. Our next stop in Tyre, the Museum of Turkish Culture. Quite a bit of it is ancient Greek and Roman culture. I introduced them to Delaware culture. Judy poses with her ancient counterpart. And I with mine. He may be taller by a head, but at least I still have one. Inside the museum, a nicely preserved mosaic, some beautifully inscribed and illustrated Korans. Here's a mini Koran, the pocket edition, suitable for your next Hajj or Jihad. Judy imagines herself as a Turkish noblewoman at the turn of the century.
A collection of Ottoman weapons from the 19th century. Check out the revolvers. Ancient Turkish gravestones written in Islamic.
Look, Jewish gravestones too. Many Jews came to Turkey after being expelled from Spain and Portugal in 1492. Turkey was neutral in World War II, but many Jews left after Israel was established. The Jews were everywhere, and so it seems were the Portuguese. Here Judy comes across a long-lost relative. Well, time to say goodbye to Tyre, because finally it's time for lunch at Diggerman, the Water Wheel Family Restaurant.
Hi Judy, here we are at the Water Wheel. It's a lovely restaurant. This is where we're going to have lunch.
The food was simple, but the outdoor setting was beautiful. First course, a crispy fried breadstick, hard and soft cheeses, and a vegetable salad. For the entree, salad, French fries, bulgur wheat, and fried meatballs. They hit the spot. Nature girl Judy loved the outdoor setting with the fresh flowers and the hanging canopy of gourds. Back in Kusadasi, a demo of the fine art of Turkish carpet making. It's a painstaking handmade process. At least this one is. I'm not so sure about all the others. But it's a very impressive display as the young men unfurl carpet after carpet after carpet, while the salesman extols their virtues until the floor is covered with magnificence. Despite the dazzling sales pitch, the prices were outrageous, so no sale. For $10,000, the carpet should come with its own genie and fly. Still, with some free time left in Kusadasi, we wandered around the tourist area and bought some souvenirs. But I wanted to find that big mosque. I wanted to hear the Muslim call to prayer. After all, they say it 5 times a day. I should be able to hear it at least once. And, praise Allah, my wish is granted. Worshippers wash their hands and feet before entering and leave their shoes at the door. Without knowing proper mosque protocol, I was too chicken to go inside. Maybe next time. It's been another exciting and exhausting day. Back to the boat and take a nap.